Hello everyone. This video will visually show how to factor quadratic expression using algebra tiles. Now let's jump into the first example. In this example, we are given x squared plus 7x plus 10. So what I'm going to do is set up the algebra tiles for this expression. So these tiles that we have here represents x squared plus 7x plus 10. In order that we can factor this given general quadratic expression that we have, which is x squared plus 7x plus 10, what we do is we are going to rearrange all of the tiles that we have here to form a rectangle. And whatever is the product of the length and width is the factored form for this given expression. So what I'm going to do is I will put one tile to the right of this x squared tile. I will put one x tile underneath the x squared tile, and then I will distribute the rest of these. Now what we do next is we will put this unit tile underneath this x and x tile. Now if you notice, we have missing pieces down here. We are not able to create a perfect rectangle. So what are we going to do is to make some adjustments on this. So what I can do is bring this x tile up here and bring this one tile up here and this one as well. So we're able to create a rectangle. So the factored form for x squared plus 7x plus 10 would be, this side will be x, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1, and that represents x plus 5. And down here we got x, 1, and 1. So this is x plus 2. So the factored form for x squared plus 7x plus 10 is x plus 2, x plus 5. Now please remember that if in any case it doesn't form a rectangle, all you need to do is just to rearrange the setup so that you are able to come up with a rectangle. Now let's have another example. In this example, we're given x squared minus 7x plus 12. So I'm going to set up the tiles for this expression. So the setup that we have here represents x squared minus 7x plus 12. So again, the same thing. What we do is we are going to create the rectangle in order that we can factor this given expression. So what we do is we put one negative x on the right side of the x squared, and then we can put in 1 underneath the x squared and then distribute the rest of these. Now what we do is we are going to put in this unit tiles to each of the spots here. Now we remember that this stays positive because we have a negative, and a negative makes it positive. So this unit tile will be represented as positive because again we have a negative and a negative is positive. And then I'm going to put in all the rest of these. If you notice, we are able to create a rectangle. So looking at this rectangle that we have here, this side is x, this is minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, and minus 1. So this side here represents x minus 4, and this side right here is x minus 1, minus 1, and minus 1. So this side represents x minus 3. So the factored form for x squared minus 7x plus 12 is x minus 3, x minus 4. Now what happens if we do not have enough tiles to create a rectangle? Now let's go over the next example. In this example, we're given x squared minus x minus 6. So we're going to set up the algebra tiles for this expression. Now what we do is to rearrange this tiles that we have here to form a rectangle. So I can put this down here. Now notice that if we put this one unit tile here and this unit tile, it's not gonna fit. So please remember that unit tiles cannot be put underneath the x squared tile. It has to be placed underneath the x tile. So if you notice here, we have more extra tiles here, and there's no way that we can fit them in here. So what we do if we run out of tiles is to put in more tiles. However, the rule is we can only add 0 pairs. So when we say 0 pairs, We have to have a pair of a positive and a negative tile, because if we add this zero pair, we're not actually changing the whole setup, because anything added with zero is the same number. It's not going to change anything if we add zero. So we added a zero pair here. So what we can do is put in this negative next to the negative down there, and then bring this other tile positive ones underneath the x squared, so we can fit one more up here. Now if you notice, they don't really fit. We still have more extra here. So if it doesn't fit, keep adding more zero pairs. So I'm gonna add another zero pair down here. Again, if we add a zero pair, we're not changing the whole setup, because adding zero does not change the setup. So we can put this negative next to the negative tiles there, and then we can put this positive underneath this positive x here. So let's try to fit this in. If you notice, we're able to come up with a rectangle. So we actually have factored already this expression x squared minus x minus 6. Now if you notice further that this unit tile that we have here is negative, because we have a negative x and a positive x. So negative 1 and 1 makes a negative 1. So looking at these rectangles that we created, this is x, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. So this side represents x minus 3. Well, on this side right here, this represents x plus 1 and plus 1. So this is x plus 2. So the factored form for x squared minus x minus 6 is x plus 2, x minus 3. Now let's have another example. In this example, we're given x squared plus 3x minus 4. So I will set up the algebra tiles for this expression. So what we can do right now is to put in this x next to the x squared tile, and notice this very carefully. If I put in this positive x down here, we are expecting to get a positive unit tile. But in this case here, it doesn't work, because this is positive and this is positive. We're expecting a positive tile here. So this x tile shouldn't be down here. So what I can do is put this next to the x tile. So all these x tiles go next to each other because they're all positive. Now if you notice that if we put this unit tile down here, there is no tile that is on this side here. So what we can do is we add a zero pair. So I'm going to add a zero pair to this. So that's the first zero pair. So I can put this up here, the positive, and put this negative tile underneath the x squared. So let's see if this would fit. And it did fit. Now if you notice, these unit tiles here are negatives because we have a positive 1 and a negative 1 makes it a negative. So positive times negative is positive. So we already have factored the expression. So looking at this rectangle that we formed, this is x positive 1 plus 1, positive 1, positive 1. So this side represents x plus 4. And the other side that we have here will be x, and then this is negative 1. So this side is x minus 1. So the factored form for x squared plus 3x minus 4 is x plus 4 times x minus 1. So that is how we visually show how to factor quadratic expression using algebra tiles.